It is Friday, the 7th day of October 2022. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining me on today's edition of Prime News. Coming to you live from Studio 1 of My Media Prime Television here in the nation's economic capital, Douala. My name is Fon Quinter. The news starts now. The Circle of Friends of Cameroon has donated or provided humanitarian aid to some internally displaced persons from the Anglophone regions now residing in the Noon Division of the West region of Cameroon. The relief material consisting amongst others of mattresses, school needs and kitchen equipment are intended to ease the burden on families as they send their kids to school. The delegation to the Noon Division was led by Mrs. Grace Janguti, representing Serac founding president Madame Chantabia. Now, teachers in the West region of Cameroon gathered at the Bafoussam ceremonial ground to commemorate the 28th edition of World Teachers Day. Present was the governor of the West region, who appreciated teachers for their endless efforts in changing lives. Cynthia Azan with details in this report.
March past, dialogue and presentations marked the celebration of the International Teachers' Day in Bafoussam, West region of Cameroon. This ceremony took place in the presence of the governor of the West region, Awafonka Augustine, who saluted the presence and the determination of teachers in transforming the educational milieu.
A very colorful ceremony where the teachers came out massively to honor the International Teachers' Day. I think we appreciate the mobilization, and we equally appreciate the determination of the teachers to participate in nation building. Of course, we seize the opportunity to ask them to pay special attention on the moral values as they go on a daily basis to take care of the youth.
This celebration is commemorated in a context where the National Autonomous Teachers Trade Union launched a strike action in February 2022.
Des mesures présidentielles dans le cadre de l'amélioration des conditions de travail.
Presidential measures to better the working conditions of the teachers will be established. Among are the payments of pensions since the month of April 2022, repaying damages to beneficiaries, repayment of pensions, and repaying all that have been lost since June 2022, amongst others. It should be noted that the International Teachers' Day is commemorated this year under the theme, "The transformation of education begins with teachers." A day to celebrate the transformation and critical role that teachers play in growing learners' potentials.
We remain in the West region of Cameroon, where a twin ceremony to commemorate the first anniversary of the eternal rest of His Royal Majesty El Haj Ibrahim Bombon Joya and the accession to the throne of Sultan Nabil Bombon Joya is underway in Fumban at the Yangon village. Eileen Saman Christobi on a special assignment in Fumban Noon Division of the West region of Cameroon. Hello, Eileen.
Studio, we are live in Fumban, and this is testimony that we are not far away from the palace. As you can see, the Ibrahim Njoya's monument right behind us. We are a few meters away from the Baboon Palace, where there is going to be a chain ceremony this beautiful day. For the next 3 days, we are going to have the accession to power of His Royal Majesty, the King of the Bamoons, and Nabil Njoya, who ascended the throne last year, and we're also going to be celebrating the demise of his father, King Ibrahim Bombon Joya, who passed 1 year ago. Lots of amazing activities are going on.
History is being made today in the Noon Division of Cameroon's West region as the Bamoons commemorate the first anniversary of the eternal rest of His Royal Majesty El Haj Ibrahim Bombon Joya, the 19th Sultan King of Bamoun Dynasty. Being a twin ceremony, the first anniversary of the accession to the throne of his successor, Sultan King of Bamoun,
Muhammad Nabil Bombonjoya is being celebrated today as well, with lots of activities going on since the 27th of September 2022. The Minister of Arts and Culture, Pierre Ishmael Bidungpat, will take part in the opening of the Ngun village by His Majesty Sultan King of Bamun, Muhammad Nabil Bombonjoya. My Media Prime's delegation, headed by Madame Zenabu Tambe, upon arrival on Thursday evening, visited the Royal Palace, presenting gifts to the mother of the King, Nabil Bombonjoya, stopped at the historic Royal Museum, and made a tour of Fumban by night, where lots of entertaining activities were going on, with live performances from renowned Bamun artists and others. Today, October 7, 2022, the program for the event goes thus. At 12:30, there will be the traditional Friday prayer at the Departmental Mosque of Bamun. 3 o'clock, special opening of the village Ngun by His Royal Majesty Sultan King of Bamun, Mohammed Nabil Bombonjoya, in the presence of the Minister of Arts and Culture, Dr. Bidungpat. At 7 p.m., a royal dinner by invitation only at the Palace of the Bamun Kings. At 8 p.m., screening of the documentary 20th King, His Royal Majesty Muhammad Nabil Bombonjoya, at the Palace of the Bamun Kings. At 9 p.m., the concert of Miss Nja Moon and semi-final on the central podium of the Ngon village. And at 11 p.m., a private VIP after-party concert with national artists at the Mantun complex.
So that is how we saw Fumban last night when we arrived, and we'll be giving you lots and lots of updates from Fumban concerning the twin ceremonies happening in this locality of the Ngun people. Stay close to My Media Prime Television. Over to you, studio.
Coming up next, staff lady Nolinga hooked up with a Douala-based cab driver who went viral on the internet for practicing acts of kindness and integrity by returning forgotten items of his passengers. Her report.
Unlike others who would drive passengers into unknown destinations, burgle, and in worse terms, go as far as claiming their lives, Mr. Njapo Daniel is an exceptional taxi driver based in Douala who was brought to the limelight thanks to the efforts of Nollywood Cameroonian-born actress Fidela E. After the said Mr. Daniel came back returning forgotten items belonging to the latter's mother. But here is how it all went down.
Picking the happy, they only down. Time for move back now, they move back for again, one back for my motor. Me, I don't know. I just take my taxi now, go back for us. I will come one time to go up. I will make the 2 hours. I know carry son kako. I reach down son side, son woman break me say go book garage. Ma carry box there. I want go down carry box now. Put our babu. I want open babu. I see some big babu inside babu. I start thinking now say now who is back this? I carry now who is there forget back. I start thinking how I will carry plenty passenger now. No feel really know. I say okay, master work now. I know say the Monday for your house now they carry back. Ma just stop the work now. I go back to in my house, so I live it. So I go for like 3 people in their house. They don't clean their back. I just pass for that one. I say my job go ask to for the house. I reach for the house now. I don't mind back. I why that picking and come they be glad that they appreciate me.
An act worth emulating and celebrating by all transporters, but sadly enough, just a few would behave like Mr. Daniel. Reason why Mr. Daniel will now use his experience in shunning dishonesty amongst colleagues.
The message I will give to the other person, I say, any taxi when not to fan for your life, because life not be only for live now, so we born picking where they do they go grow.
With worldwide applause and opportunities coming his way, many have attested indeed kindness doesn't cost a thing, and as such, we must all try practicing the virtue over the vices in society.
Nolinga reports in there to Health. Bokengowari talks about cerebral palsy, a brain disease that causes paralysis prevalent in babies under 1 year old that can lead to paralysis and other life-threatening diseases if ignored. Her report.
Being an abnormal brain development, cerebral palsy is a group of disorders that affects one's movement, posture, muscle tone, as well as ability to move. Caused by maternal infection, folic acid deficiency, brain abnormalities, preterm birth, pre-eclampsia, uterine rupture, severe jaundice in infants, oxygen deprivation during pregnancy, dystocia, hypoxia, and more. The neurological health condition is more prevalent in babies who can live with the disease all through their lifetime. According to data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, of the estimated 18 million sufferers worldwide, more than 50% of these sufferers are children under the age of 18, with 10,000 more diagnosed each year. Bearing symptoms such as speech disorder, urinary inconsistencies, muscle spasms, seizure, slow growth, learning disability, constipation, hearing loss, difficulty swallowing, deformity, difficulty walking, foot drop, tremor, drooling, spasticity, vision problems and more. The health condition has four main types, namely ataxic, dyskinetic, mixed, and spastic cerebral palsy, being very prevalent in babies aged even 6 months. Observed this year under the theme Million Reasons in a bid to raise more awareness regarding the permanent movement disorder. Experts say physical therapy, injection, stem cell transplant, speech and language therapy, medication, surgery, as well as alternative exercises are ways to help manage and prevent the disease in order to reduce the estimated 8 million people affected by this neurological condition worldwide.
In news out of Cameroon, the World Health Organization is set to launch a suicide prevention campaign in Africa, as the continent is said to have the highest rate of suicide deaths worldwide. The campaign will be launched on Monday, October 10, 2022, coinciding with the commemoration of the World Mental Health Day. Get details on these and more striking stories on the African continent with Joy Ngong.
We begin our news tour of the African continent in Burkina Faso, where protesters gathered in the country's capital, Ouagadougou, Thursday to show support for the new junta leader. Ibrahim Traoré was declared president on Wednesday, October 5, 2022, after a 2-day standoff, which ousted Lieutenant Colonel Paul-Henri Damiba, who had seized power earlier in January this year. A crowd of hundreds of young people gathered in front of the Burkinabe National Radio and TV Center, protesting a plot to replace Captain Traoré with a general. This was following rumors of a seemingly division between the junior officers represented by Traoré and the high-ranking officers in alliance with ex-leader Damiba. After almost 1 hour of protesting, the crowd was calmed and the new government denied rumors of a split. In other news, the World Health Organization has announced the launch of a suicide prevention campaign in Africa, as it says the continent has the highest rate of suicide deaths worldwide. The World Health Organization's Regional Office for Africa went further to reveal that about 11 people per 100,000 die in the African continent, which is higher than the global 9 cases of suicide per 100,000 people. The most common methods used to commit suicide in Africa, according to the World Health Organization, include hanging, pesticide poisoning, drowning, the use of firearm, or drug overdose. The World Health Organization believes that the situation is caused by limited means of action available to treat and prevent risk factors, including mental disorders. The prevention campaign will therefore be launched on World Mental Health Day, October 10th, on all social media networks, and aims to reach over 10 million people in Africa. Away from that, Kenyan President William Ruto has met with Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed to discuss bilateral cooperation and strengthen economic and strategic ties between the two countries on regional affairs. Thursday's visit was President Ruto's first to Ethiopia since his election. The visit equally comes amid the ongoing war between Ethiopian troops and the Tigray People Liberation Front (TPLF). There are thus high expectations for discussions around the ongoing Tigray conflict during the meeting. It should be noted that President Ruto had affirmed that his administration would play an active role in spearheading peace talks between the region.
More news out of Cameroon. Catherine Congo with updates on the Russia-Ukraine war plus other headline stories out of the African continent. Her report.
Joe Biden has warned the world could face Armageddon if Vladimir Putin uses a tactical nuclear weapon to try to win the war in Ukraine. The U.S. president made his most outspoken remark to date about the threat of nuclear war at the Democratic Front Decide in New York, saying it was the closest the war had come to nuclear catastrophe for 60 years. Putin and his officials have repeatedly threatened to use Russia's nuclear arsenal in an effort to deter the U.S. and its allies from supporting Ukraine and helping it resist the all-out Russian invasion launched in February. One fear is that he could use a short-range tactical nuclear weapon to try to stop Ukraine's counter-offensive in its tracks and force Kyiv to negotiate and send the territory. We now take you to Thailand, where an ex-policeman has killed at least 37 people, most of them children, in a gun and knife attack at a child care center in northeast Thailand. Police sources say he committed suicide and murdered members of his family after a manhunt following the attack in Nong Bua Lamhu province. Children and adults are among the casualties at the nursery, as police sources say the attacker mostly stabbed his victims before fleeing the scene. The former police, aged 34, was sacked in June for drug use. The motive of the attack is not yet clear. Meanwhile, 2 Russian nationals have been detained by U.S. officials after arriving in a small boat on St. Lawrence Island in Alaska. According to 2 U.S. senators who represent the state, the men landed at a beach in the village of Gambell and requested asylum in the country. A Department of Homeland Security spokesperson said the duo's asylum claim was currently being processed. Thousands have fled Russia to avoid being conscripted for a war in Ukraine. Gambell, home to less than 500 permanent residents, sits on the northwestern cape of St. Lawrence Island. The island is located some 56 kilometers from Russia's Chukchi Peninsula, meaning it is closer to Russia than it is to the Alaskan mainland. According to local media, Gambell residents can sail the Russian territory of Siberia across the sea.
To sports, 38-year-old Lapon Damian emerged winner of the third lap of the Shantabia International Cycling Tour Thursday, October 6, 2022 in Kola Dome, South region of Cameroon. He emerged overall best within a time frame of 3 hours 46 minutes, covering a distance of 161 kilometers. Nicole Thako with details in this report.
38-year-old Lapon Damien from the French defense team has won the third lap of the 22nd edition of Shantabia's International Cycling Tour, which took place on Thursday, 6th October 2022 at exactly 10 a.m. along the Yaoundé-Eboloa-Nkola-Dom Highway. A total of 58 cyclists took part in the race, which is said to be the longest lap in the competition. Lapon Damien covered a distance of 161.4 kilometers within a time frame of 3 hours, 46 minutes and 47 seconds, making him overall best. On the second position is the Cameroonian cyclist Stella Atus from the SNH Velo Club with a 2 minutes late record after Lapon Damien. Stella Atus becomes best Cameroonian cyclist on the general classification ranking at the end of the third lap race. Meanwhile, on the third position is Smith Florian from the Netherlands Global Cycling Club with a 2 minutes late record after Stella Atus. Note that the cyclists began the race at 10 a.m. all the way from the Yaoundé-Douala Auto Highway and were expected to cross the finishing line at Koladom at exactly 2:06 p.m. At the end of the third lap, the prolific Damien received some valuable gifts from the sponsors. The prize handling ceremony saw the presence of government ministers like Professor Jacques Famen Dongo, the Minister of State, Minister of Higher Education, Governor of the South Region, Felix Ngwele, and Emmanuel Mve, the President of the Regional Council of the South Region.
And Lionel Messi has announced he may be retiring from international football and that this World Cup participation with Argentina will be his last. A young Besong Magdala with details in this report.
Argentina and Paris Saint-Germain forward Lionel Messi has hinted he will retire from football anytime after the World Cup, as he claims this participation will be his last. The 7-time Ballon d'Or winner confirmed this in an interview yesterday. The Argentina captain has eyes on this year's trophy, which may be a memorable retirement gift, as he threatens to take a long and ending break from football anytime after the 2022 Qatar World Cup. This will be his 5th participation and final chance of winning the tournament since 1986. Messi captained Argentina to 2nd place in 2014, and since then, they have been unable to go beyond that stage. He is definitely aimed at making this time in football more memorable come November. The football hero holds the all-time Argentina records for caps, 164, and has scored 90 goals for his country. His long wait for a major trophy on the international stage came to an end last year with victory over Brazil in the Copa America final. Argentina have been drawn in Group C of the upcoming World Cup alongside Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Poland.
That report ends today's edition of Prime News on My Media, Prime Television. My name is Fon Quinter. Coming up at exactly 7 p.m. is Prime Eye with Kum Leonard and his team. Keep watching more programs on The African Eye. Goodbye.
Like what we are observing with our MPs today, people think that an